we're getting these kids to college. We're throwing money at them. If they take advantage of this funding, which is something we need to make a bigger awareness of, sure, and then they capitalize on their FAFSA form, as well as secondary funding sources, such as some of these foster youth are also Gear Up students. Gear Up is a national program. It's in every single state where, low income and minority students have the opportunity to receive extra funding to go to college. Sure. So some of these foster youth who might even, be covered under that, on top of their FAFSA form, if they go to college, some of them make money going to college.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we need to increase the awareness of those resources and make sure they're available. But one of the issues we're facing is those people who've been made aware of it and they're capitalizing on it, they're not being successful. The current success rate is foster youth under the age of 25. Only about 2.71% ever graduate with a bachelor's degree. What's causing that problem? Where's that coming from? The emotional issues, the barriers of the restraints of being in care. When you're in care, you're essentially a ward of the state, mm-hmm, and you have to do things according to a certain way. Maybe you can't get parents to sign off on certain opportunities. Maybe you can't get somebody to sign off on being able to go on a band trip, or being able to go to social events, or being able to be involved in a sport because maybe the funding hasn't come through for whatever foster parent they're with in order to pay for the equipment that they need. And so these kids face a lot of barriers that prevent them from developing socially, from developing cognitively. That builds up to when they're thrown money to go to college, they don't know what to do with it. To develop their relationships. They don't know where to find resources because they've never been taught how to. They don't know how to interact with people when they're dealing with tough situations in the classroom with their professor or with classmates or with people that live on their dorm floor. There's all this funding. There's programs in place to teach these kids how to be work ready. Sure. Teach these kids how to balance their checkbook. Teach these kids how to get into the workforce. But you know what? That is so old school. Mm-hmm. I'm so sick of hearing that because we need to be able to pay attention to the idea that you were mentioning. If they can't deal with their own emotional trauma, if they don't know how to deal with their crap that's holding them back, sure, then their mind, when you're trying to teach them all these basic life skills, right, where's their mind? Thinking about the trauma. Thinking about what's going on at home, thinking about, I wish I could have done this differently, or I wish I could have been there for my mom, when in all actuality, there's not a dang thing they could have done about their mom. These kids who are dealing with these issues, they really need extra help. They need to be walked through things. Sure. And they don't need to be patronized. There's some studies being done and there's some programs being implemented. I think the state of Connecticut is one of them, and there's one or two in the state of California and maybe even Virginia, mm-hmm, where they have kind of like a liaison, making sure that these kids have some sort of structure on the college campus. Liaison specifically for kids in foster care. Sure. So anyone who's utilizing the ETV funding, they're able to identify and get connected with this person. So it's home base for anything that they need. Whatever questions they have, whether it's about, getting their classes scheduled, getting their, financial aid filled out again, those types of things that a lot of kids at the adult age of 18, 19, 20 should be able to figure out again. I think that we've touched on a lot of the significant points relative to the barriers to foster youth, mm-hmm, going to college, the barriers that they face once they've gotten money thrown at them, mm-hmm, the idea that once they are ready and they are looking for a way to go, there's plenty of ways to do it, mm-hmm, and we need to increase the awareness of that. But then once they're there, we also need to have something in place that provides them continued mentorship. Absolutely. And the idea of, turning them into mentors as well to, sure, provide that empowerment. And all of that process, I think, is proven not only in your story, right, but in my story. Yes. I went through the same situation, foster care, group homes, having been institutionalized, mm-hmm, being told that I was nothing, being told that I wasn't going to succeed. When I graduated with a rope around my neck from high school, everyone laughed at me and said, "Who'd you steal that rope from?" Right. You see what I'm saying? Because there was a stigmatization and everyone was just saying, "You can't do this. I can't believe you're going to do this." And I had to find it in myself to find the strength to succeed, and I did that because I had one person who took an interest in me.